Welcome to the You Can Man podcast, episode 43. I'm Josh.
I'm Tim.
And I'm Dave.
And on this week's episode, Seeing 2020.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to the You Can Man podcast, where we believe what one man can do, you can do as well. Hey, dawn of a new decade, guys. 2020.
Happy New Year.
And so we thought we'd do a little show on what we are kind of looking forward to, maybe some New Year's resolution stuff.
Or lack thereof.
What we're kind of thinking through. We actually wanted to bring up to our listeners some ideas that have been floating around in our heads concerning You Can Man and this podcast and things we're thinking through about that and where we see things going in the future. But first, guys, what's been going on?
I'm coming off some vacation that was fantastic. It was much needed. And I did not as much work around the house that I had planned on doing, but I did do some work around the house and I solved a big problem that I was having. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast, but maybe 6 months ago, I bought a new dryer. I know I've told you two guys about it. And this dryer was giving me fits. Like it had great reviews or whatever. I hooked it up myself, of course. But it wouldn't dry the clothes, okay? It wouldn't dry the clothes, and it made the room like crazy hot, super humid. It was driving me nuts. And both of you were like, you got a blockage. And I was like, no, I don't, because I hooked it up. And I checked the hose. It was clear. Now, let me tell you what happened. So when I installed this dryer, I put in a new vent to the outside of the house, right? I replaced the vent because it was kind of falling apart. And I replaced it with one that had a grate on it. That's a no-no, okay? So the grate basically, it just straight up stopped, like the dryer lint completely caked over on the grate. You guys were right. Yeah. I didn't check the hose. I mean, I didn't go out to the vent. I checked the hose. It was clear. Didn't go out to the vent. But I was like, I'm gonna figure this thing out because it's driving me crazy. So
I'm gonna listen to this back to that podcast because I'm pretty sure I specifically asked you if you
and I did
through the wall.
So I went out there and I stuck my hand. I was like, I stuck my hand down to the vent with the dryer going, felt hot air. So I was like, I'm good.
Okay.
But I wasn't good. I mean, it was straight up caked over and replaced the vent with a new vent, and we are
nice.
Good to go.
You got to be free flowing.
You got to be free. We are so free flowing now, and we're good to go.
Nice.
So I'm excited about it.
I want to point out, because I'm a nerd, and I know we have tons of nerds in our You Can Man army. Technically, it's like not the end of the decade, and it's not.
I was kind of thinking that.
Like it's that whole. I don't care.
So
I really don't care, but I know someone's going to call us out on it.
When the calendar started, did they start in this is year
0.
1? Okay, they started in year 0.
But nobody thinks that way, though. Right. It's just, I don't know. To me,
you don't think that way.
I think it's fine to
people that get upset about it. It kind of annoys me because it is.
Well,
we're going to look back and say this is the 20s. Or
we talk about the 20s. You talk about the the 1990s, right?
That's why I don't care. That's why I don't care. But I think the thing is, like, 2020, the end of 2020 will be the end of that 10-year time.
Sure.
So anyway, doesn't matter. Just wanted to point it out.
People will bring that up.
Yeah.
I kind of want to slap them.
Yeah. So I have a couple of items here. One, we sold our 4Runner.
Congratulations.
I was going to ask you.
Story.
Because I hadn't seen it in your driveway.
Yep. It went bye-bye. So we got it. Yeah. The only guy that came to look at it, I gave it to him. So that's basically it. Sold it on Facebook. Had it listed on Auto Trader as well. Right around the holidays.
What does that cost now to list it on Auto Trader?
Oh, it's like $30 for a month or something.
Oh,
it's not terrible.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, I think it was a bad time to sell a car. Right around the holidays, right before the holidays. Cars over 10 years, it's usually hard to get loans for those. But the 4Runner retains its value, so it's like almost $10,000 in cash. You just got to have straight up right before the holidays. So
it's a bad time to be asking somebody for $10K.
Yeah. So the guy, I mean, he got a good deal in my opinion, and I could have haggled more with him. But it's one of those things. Like, do I want $500 more in a month after showing it to 7 more people, or do I want that
Exactly.
money today to the first guy that came to
See,
look?
That's
And
how you rationalize it?
Yes.
that is
Okay.
why
100%.
that's why I always buy private party. I never buy from dealers. I'm just like, you know what? I can just work out a better deal
Yeah.
with a private.
You will, yeah, you're going to
seller.
get a better deal.
As long as you can do, like, as long as you can get a Carfax on it, make sure you're not getting a salvage. I agree. It's like a crapshoot either way. Like whether you're going for it through the dealer or through a private party, unless you're going to like CarMax, but then you're paying like
paying that
couple
premium.
$1,000 more for
exactly.
like a super certified car. But
Yeah, because
totally
when we
agree.
bought our van, basically the people that we bought it from, they were going to trade it in or sell it to the dealership. And I straight up
they'll
asked
rip
them,
you off.
I straight up asked them, well, what are they offering? And she told me, and I was like, I gave you $300 more.
Yeah.
Boom,
That's
done.
awesome. That's great.
You know?
That was a great situation. Because the dealer is always it's a total hassle to try to sell your car yourself, but it's a you can man thing. Like, do it because the dealer's just going to straight rip you off.
They're going to
They're
squeeze you.
they're going to buy that car from you at what they could get at an auction.
Well, here's pro
so
tip.
that they can resell it.
And you guys probably already know this, and maybe a lot of our listeners do, but I didn't really know this. So there, we all are familiar with the blue book value. Well, the dealers use the black book value, and there are places online. Just do some Googling where you can figure out the black book value. And sure enough, I looked up the van that we bought. The dealer had offered them the lowest value
In the black book?
in the black book.
Interesting.
It has this oil leak that's very common to Toyota engines.
Okay.
But I ran it by a Lexus mechanic friend of mine, and he's like, "Yeah, when it gets its like absolute worst, you'll probably lose like a quart every oil change." So I was like, you know what? I can deal with that.
Yes.
But it was going to affect the value when I go to sell that. So that's how I was able to get it for
Nice.
so much cheaper. Anyhow.
Yeah, I mean, that's the story. I mean, I know. I'm curious of the numbers of when someone buys from a dealership, what percentage of people trade in the car at the dealership? Because they're gonna, regardless
It's an
of
overwhelming majority.
regardless
I think
of what
so.
you think you're doing there, they will make their money
Yep.
off of you.
Yeah.
Like regardless of what happens. There's a lot of people who be like, oh yeah,
they
I
gave
took
me a
them to the
great
cleaners
deal
or-
on that trade.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm like, no, they made the numbers work for them. Trust me.
Yeah, I think most people trading in the car, they're not selling private party. They're just trading it into the dealer.
Matter
for
of
sure.
convenience.
Just convenience thing, straight up. All right, what else you got, Josh?
So the other thing I want to say is I know we do, well, Dave and I, we do a lot of Harbor Freight hating, some HFH.
Yeah, what's up with that, guys?
Well, I've changed my tune a little bit. My dad has been asking for. My dad loves working on cars. Actually, I don't know if he loves working on cars. He's just a guy that is going to work on his own car. So my parents moved into a new house a few years ago. He basically gave away all of his tools, all of his like big tools, to all of his sons. But he still works on his own car. So he's got his mechanics tools in his garage. Well, he'll drag them out to the car, all the tools like one by one, and he'll like lay out a piece of cardboard and lay out all the tools neatly on the piece of cardboard and like bend down, get the tool. So anyway, it's this whole thing. My mom's like, he needs a nice like mechanics tool chest that he can wheel out, and it's like waist height or counter height, and he can work on his car, have all his tools available. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I look on Harbor Freight because I've heard they have some competitive tool chests on
they
there.
really do.
And man, a couple of my siblings and I went in on a $149, and actually today it's $139 if you're interested, tool chest, 4-drawer tool chest that you can wheel in and out of the garage, and it has a flip up top on it. Anyway, I unpacked this thing. First of all, the paint job on it like almost blinded me. It's such a nice powder coating job, this bright blue. You can get them in like 7 colors.
Well, they finally did that right, because for years it was only red.
Yeah,
Like,
you can get red, green, yellow, orange, anything you want. So the second thing I noticed, the box, 93 pounds. It's just one, it's not a huge tool chest, but it's 93 pounds, heavy duty. It is nicer. All the drawers open more nicely than the Husky that I have from Home Depot.
Really?
This thing is super nice. And I just had to give Harbor Freight some credit there.
I would have actually gotten a Harbor Freight one, no doubt. But they didn't have, I got a really good deal on the Husky one that I got from Home Depot, and they didn't have Harbor Freight at the time. The flip up top thing.
I think
like
they're still missing that middle line.
Yeah,
they have
really
one
are.
that competes with like Snap-on that you can pay like $4,000 for or $3,000 for. And then they have the Husky ones, but they don't have that, that tall cabinet with the flip top.
Exactly. So I was kind of waiting for that. And maybe even at the time, too, I couldn't get it in black, and I really wanted it in black. Maybe that was it. I'm not quite sure.
No, I didn't see it because I was looking for the same thing.
Gotcha.
So Harbor Freight, get on that.
I might be getting on that. It'll be the first Harbor Freight item that I own.
Really?
But Josh told me about it a couple weeks ago. I was like, I need one. I'm going to do it. But now that it's $10 cheap, I didn't do it. I've kind of dragged my feet on it. But now that it's $10 cheaper, I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, do it.
All right, I've got something completely random. You guys know now that I'm pretty much working out like 6 days a week.
Getting after it.
I'm going to the gym every other day. Every other day I'm running or hiking. Anyways, I was at the gym maybe 2 weeks ago or something, and I see this guy in what I would describe as a Bane mask from Batman, the villain.
I
Bane.
know what you're talking about.
Yes, super weird. And I'm like, okay, is this guy sick? Like, is he trying to keep us from having his germs? I don't know what's going on here.
What was he doing?
Okay, well, that's a whole other thing. He was just doing these like ridiculous like pull-ups and stuff where he was just like
Instagram accounts for this that you
where
should have
he was like
videotaped it.
grunting and like all the, and I'm like, bro, like, okay, so I Googled this. I literally searched for Bane workout mask or something like that because I was like, I don't know what's going on here. I do not know what's going on right now. It is a high altitude. Maybe this is just common knowledge and I'm just like way in the dark and I just don't even know what's cool or whatever. But it's a high altitude. I guess it's restricting your oxygen intake and so that your body's working harder. But I'm just like, bro, you're at the YMCA right now. Let me just.
It's super weird. I seriously had this idea 15 years ago when I was riding bikes a lot, and I was like, man, I need to if I could arrest my breathing, then I could get double the value here. But I went through it in my mind. I was like, I'm going to look like an idiot, so obviously I'm not going to do that.
It's weightlifting for your lungs.
Yeah. It's a good idea, but then you see a guy and you're like, is he going to...
That's why people that are real serious, they actually just move to Colorado and live there.
That's more normal, slightly more normal.
I just don't know how you, in all seriousness, wear that thing with... I don't know. Was he like...
If he's,
I'm hard, or if he's just like, I'm just a normal dude, and I'm about to go to the Rockies, and I need to do this. I don't know. I literally
kind of jealous of those people though who can do that, and then they can grunt and do all the crazy stuff and not care about what's going on. I mean, I'm kind of envious.
Yeah, I still don't look. This is my first entry into gym culture, if you will. And I think it's a completely different culture at the Y than it is maybe at other gyms.
I would agree.
Because especially at our Y, we've got a lot of elderly. And so
a lot of old folks.
And stay-at-home moms.
It kind of brings a whole different
that's a different vibe.
So then when you got the guy
that's
Bane mask,
when he's doing the grunting and all this stuff.
Now that's weird anywhere.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's weird.
I think it's weird.
He belongs at Planet Fitness.
I'm just like, why are you? Everyone can hear. Look, I got my headphones in and I can hear you.
We get it, buddy.
Yeah.
You're serious.
That's what I want to be like. What are you? Anyway,
that's funny. You should have videotaped it. There's a whole.
I wish you had.
I thought about it.
There's Instagram accounts.
I thought
about passenger shaming kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he was real quick, like in and out of theirs too. So I don't know if it was just like.
So how much is he actually doing?
I don't know. I really should have videoed that and then posted it on the You Can Man Facebook group page.
Yeah.
Next time.
All right.
All right, guys, let's get into talking about 2020. The biggest thing that we really wanted to hit on was talking through our goals for You Can Man. So we've kind of got these things that we just kind of wanted to talk about in general to get feedback from our listeners on. And that is our slogan. Now, you may be thinking, okay, I know what your slogan is.
It's the best slogan. Why would you even think about changing it?
No need to change it.
If you've been a longtime loyal listener, you'll know that the slogan came from an adaptation basically of
What is the slogan, first of all?
the slogan is what one man can do, you can do as well.
Okay.
Now that came from my friend Julian years ago, who helped me, taught me how to do a lot of things on my house, including taking out a load-bearing wall. So that was like this big, at the time, monumental task that I thought I could never do. Julian comes along, nah, bro, you got that. What one man can do, you can do as well, right? And so I don't know if those were his exact words, but pretty much along those lines. But with that came, I'm going to show you how to do this. So it's not like you can just do it yourself. And we communicate that through the podcast. We're always talking about A, do your research. B, get help from friends. We have an entire Facebook group page that's all about showing everybody projects that you're working on, getting their input up from other guys that have way more experience. There's been so many guys that have been posting where we're like, bro, y'all need to be behind the mic because we don't even know how to
just winging it.
We don't know how to do any of that. And just so our listeners know, we're all novices around this table. Yes, we have had some opportunities to do some bigger projects like whole house renovations and that sort of thing. But we are by no means any kind of professional. And I think that
Dave is a professional.
Dave is a professional engineer.
I'm an engineer, but when it comes to do-it-yourself stuff, I'm a lot of times just as clueless as anybody. I called Josh the other day because I was messing with an outlet, and I was like, I don't know what's going on here. So
yeah,
I don't know what I'm doing half the time.
So hopefully we communicate that through the podcast. And I'm sure there's tons of times, too, where you guys are listening to us and you're like, yeah, that don't actually sound right. And maybe I need to call them out on that. And please do, honestly, go on our Facebook group page and call us out. If we ever say anything that is just off or whatever, maybe we need to start like an open forum on You Can Man Stinks or something.
We've had an idea who was, we had a buddy tell us the other day at a Christmas party. He said, yeah, your podcast, I want to be the guy that comes on your podcast periodically and does corrections at the end.
Yes.
We need it. I feel like we need that.
Pardon the Interruption.
Yep.
On ESPN. If you've ever seen that show, there's a guy at the very end who basically goes through and all the incorrect statements that the host made. He like goes through one. Anyway,
sets the record.
So that kind of thing. We
would be funny.
And I mean, look, that's the whole spirit of it. Is we're not experts. There's always someone else that has more information that you can learn from.
Well, what we want to communicate is there's a community aspect to this, right? So what one man can do, you can do as well. There's kind of a second part to that, that you can do it, but a lot of times you need help to get started, right?
Right. And we want to always be in a position of encouraging men to get that help. Lay aside your ego and do the research, ask for help, and seek guidance from those that have gone before you, right?
Yeah.
So if with the proper know-how and help from your fellow man, what one man can do, you can do as well. So that actually what I just said is kind of what we're kind of tossing around right now that might be tagged on to our tagline. So, but we want to hear from you guys. So we want to be kind of an open book when it comes to this. We're still really, this episode, 43?
Yep.
But we're still really young.
Baby podcast.
I mean, honestly, we are. Our listener base is steadily growing, but it's still relatively small, especially in terms of really, really popular podcasts. But we feel like we've got a really great concept that we're growing, and we want to become better and better with that. And not only that, we want to expand far beyond even just do-it-yourself stuff. So I think that that's always going to be part of what we do. We're always going to talk about working on your car, electrical, lawn care, all kinds of stuff like that. That will always be a part of it. But if you'll notice, if you've been a long-term listener, we've brought in entrepreneurs. We did that series on our good friend Josh, who started the Chick-fil-A or is an owner-operator of a Chick-fil-A. We had our good friend Matt LaMarche in to talk about how to start a lawn care business. And we've had a couple other entrepreneurs, like professional tradesmen.
And we'll have more.
And we're going to have more. So, we want to hear from those guys that do the things that we're kind of talking about, but on a much higher professional level. And that will allow our listeners to gain really valuable insight into those specific trades. And so we want to do that as well. But even more, just business in general. or just life skills. Hey, marriage, family, kids. We want to get into all of those topics. And so we want to make sure that we're communicating that effectively. And so we would love to hear from our You Can Man group, or You Can Man Army, I guess is how we've been saying it.
Yeah.
Give us our feedback. Give us your feedback on that.
Yeah. So again, feedback on the kind of our tagline and maybe refining that a little bit, because we want to be specific about it and accurate about what we're trying to do here. And also, what are you guys looking at us for in 2020? You know, what are you looking to have us do, or people to have on the show, or topics to cover?
What guests would be good? And honestly, some of the guests we need to have are actually a part of our Facebook group.
100%.
Yeah. So we're gonna be reaching out to, I think, at least 2 of you that I know of right now, or actually I think like at least 3 of you guys that will be reaching out to have on the show. That you've got a lot to share. You've contributed a lot to our Facebook group page, and so we think that'd be really valuable to have you guys on the show.
What I think is really cool about the You Can Man Facebook group so far is a lot of these guys that are experts. To me, they're experts at whatever they're into. That's not their main job. Like most of them is like that is their hobby they do on the side. So it's something they're passionate about that they do on the side. And I think that's true for a lot of people that you run into in your life. Like they may just have like regular 9 to 5, but they are super into XYZ hobby and have just tons of info to share.
Totally agree. And we're all about, like you said, Josh, sharing that information, the community aspect, and just passing along that knowledge.
All right. So speaking more about 2020 and the year ahead, I want to hear your resolutions, guys. Because Dave, I know you're a big resolutions guy.
I am not a big resolution guy, and I kind of go back and forth in my mind about it. I don't know why I'm not. I don't know if it's because I'm kind of lazy about, I don't want to set a goal and then, have to see it through for the year. But I don't think
or fail at it.
Or,
I think that's why a lot of people don't do it.
I'm not afraid, for whatever reason, I'm not afraid of failing. I have failed a ton in my life. So that doesn't really faze me, but I'm just not a huge, I don't know. There's something kind of, I don't know if it's trite about setting a goal at the beginning of the year every year. And
there's something
because it's,
Dave, just wait till February 12th and then do it, okay?
And then, it's not a bad idea. Maybe I'll do that.
It's kind of, look, I
feel like you should always be, there shouldn't be, one time a year that you make a change in your life. That's my problem with it.
That's a great point.
It needs to be continual, like a constant thing that you're always trying to improve.
Yes.
And
the year shouldn't be a line of demarcation.
Right. I understand why people do it because it is kind of a reset point.
Feels like a fresh start.
Right. It's the beginning of the year and I'm just going to be a better person. I'm going to do this and do that. But I think that, you can make those changes at any time during the year.
Yeah. Like Tim said, February 12th is basically the same thing as January 1. There's really no physical difference.
Yeah. He just called me out. February 12th is my day. Tim, what about you? Are you a big resolution kind of guy?
I historically have most definitely not been a resolution guy at all. I was probably way more adamantly against it than you were. But I've been in a metamorphosis or something you could call it, where I've just been doing a lot of life changes. And I would say that my resolution is just to keep going.
There you go.
Keep doing what I'm doing and stick at it.
That's a good one to make. Like just keep, if you're on a good path, just keep going.
Yeah, there's
right?
there's a thing, and I don't know if it's a business thing, but that's where I've heard it is like business books or business podcasts is, whenever you're kind of doing an assessment at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year, a self-assessment, you kind of say, here's things that I'm going to stop doing. And then you have things that you're going to start doing. And then you have things that you're going to keep doing. And you put things in one of those 3 buckets. And so, if you have something good going, you put that in the keep doing bucket. And I'm kind of in the same boat with Tim. I've got some things like more from like a physical perspective that I've been consistent on, and I'm just going to keep that rock moving. And I think that is just a good tie-in to the whole resolutions thing. There's an aspect of goal setting. A resolution is kind of a goal that you're setting. some things that have helped, and there's a good book out there that just came to mind by John Acuff. And
I've heard you talk about this book.
His book is called Finish, which is awesome. And I've read some of his other books. He had a book called Start, which was cool, but Finish really had some really poignant things in it. And I'll just do two of them that kind of affected me the most. So, and this is again related to goal setting or resolutions or whatever you want to call it. So if you have a goal of, running, right? You want to run a certain distance, let's say for the year, you want to run 500 miles this year. Okay. His recommendation is that you just straight up off the bat, cut that goal in half and start working.
It seems
there.
So defeating at that point.
Yeah. But he's like, it's all about those small wins. So like, you'll likely hit, if you had 500 in your mind, but now you've kind of just shifted it, let's work on 250 and get that right. You'll probably hit 250 somewhere early. And then by that point, you've gotten in such a rhythm that you can just keep moving forward. That's been super helpful for me. And that ties into another tip he has, which is about perfectionism and getting derailed. And so I can't remember the exact phrase he uses, but he calls it it's basically the first day of failure. He calls it I can't remember. My wife's going to kill me because she always says it. But it's the first day that you fail. It's going to happen. Like whatever day it is, if it's next week or if it's 2 months from now, there's going to be a fail day that's a failure based on what you've put in your mind. And you have got to learn, especially those people with perfectionist personalities, that you have to just roll through that day like it didn't happen. You just have to keep moving. Like Dave said, keep the momentum going forward, keep pushing the rock, because it doesn't matter. Like the failure will happen. It will happen.
Right. It's kind of like,
and you've got to be able to cope with it and just push on.
You are preemptively building in grace for yourself.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. And those two things together have really helped me. I've almost been running just super consistency. I don't think I missed a week in 2019. I think I ran at least once. I think I ran twice most weeks.
I'm going to have to check that out.
I was like on vacation. We went to Montana and I ran on the front end of the vacation and I did a hike. I didn't count that as a run, but that was like my longest gap, and we were on vacation like 10 days. So other than that, and I'm not like bragging, I'm just saying in like past Josh, like 5 years ago, Josh would have, if I missed a gap like that, I would just, it's game over. I'm like, that wasn't even worth doing. I should never even started it. And it's kind of, I don't know if it comes with age.
Because then you're just thinking this is going to happen again in 2 weeks from now. I'm going to have the complete failure. Well, no,
right.
Not if you just keep going. But if you just recognize that fail and like it's all over, then you will just stop. But if you build that in prior and give yourself grace preemptively built into your goal setting, this is so weird that I'm even saying these things because I was like that too.
Well, you've been on the train now. You know what it's like.
Yeah, I'm on the train now, and I'm far enough into it, very much far into it. I think I'm well over 130 something days. I'm not quite sure. Actually, on the app that I have been using to track calories, I have logged in for like 115 days.
There you go.
I think solid. So, I don't know if there's like some magic number with how long you've got to do something. I think there is a little bit of science.
I've always heard it's like 28 days, which is like 4 weeks or whatever. But to me, it's like 3 months. Like that's like that 3 month hump is really where I felt like I'd made a lifestyle change.
And I'm there. Yeah.
So that's my gauge. So it's probably somewhere in between. But this is a good thing. The whole failure thing, moving past failure, is good if you have kids. Like I know, because I was like this my entire life, and I know it's more common in like oldest children, this like really perfectionist mentality where like the world's going to collapse if everything doesn't line up right. So if you like can recognize that in your kids as they like grow, as they're growing and they're trying to like set goals and stuff, and teenagers, to just help them in that one area, just say, getting them to recognize that failure will happen. It will, no matter what, it will happen. You cannot put the world in perfect order.
Right.
It will happen. And here's how we move through it. And
what you do with that failure matters
more than the failure. Yeah.
Yeah.
The reaction to it is where the growth comes from.
Well, I like what you said, going back to the John Acuff book, where you said, or he said that, giving yourself the opportunity for small wins is a big deal. And I totally agree with that, because if you make a resolution at the beginning of the year and you say, I'm going to lose 50 pounds this year, that's a big goal. Losing 50 pounds is difficult to do. But if you say, I'm going to lose a pound a week, or a pound every 2 weeks, that gives you something that's a quick thing that's going to happen. You're going to lose a pound. You do that 3 times, then you have some momentum, and then you can really build off of that. I just think it's important to give yourself, instead, saying if you want to work out more, you want to run more, telling yourself, you know what, today is the most sedentary I'm going to be
right
from now on, and then building from there. I think that is how you make incremental change and make big changes over time.
And just a very simplistic, just calorie thing that I never even knew. Cut 500 calories out of your diet every single day, and you will lose a pound a week. 3,500 calories, roughly, I've been told, equals about a pound.
Wow.
There you go.
So I think that if you can cut out that, and you think about that, that's
a Chick-fil-A meal.
Yeah. Well,
that's
fries,
half a meal.
Yeah. Well,
one chicken sandwich at Chick-fil-A is like 440 calories.
So a Chick-fil-A meal, though, if you cut out a Chick-fil-A meal a day.
Yeah, but I was thinking more in terms of things that you could eat more easily cut out, like that sugary coffee drink that you got. Man, that's probably half of it right there.
Yep.
So I never thought this way. Never thought. I was just like, I'm going to eat whatever I want.
I think it comes, we're all at a similar life stage, and we're, you have that, with age comes the ability to like detach a little bit and kind of see things from a bigger perspective the older you get. I think you can just kind of assess your past self and assess like where you want to go. Dave brought up a great point that reminded me of something that Jordan Peterson says. And Jordan Peterson just has an insane library of information in his head, and he's got tons of YouTube stuff. But if you haven't seen him, you should check him out. He talks about, you're talking about incremental change. He talks about, he says, be humble enough to set the bar low enough that you can achieve it. And he says, do that with kids too. Like, don't give kids these insane goals, but for yourself. What we do a lot is we compare ourselves. Like, if we want to, we use running because we're all into running right now. But if you want to run, a 7-minute mile for a 10K, right? It's 7 minutes. You'll go watch like a YouTube person that can like easily do that all day. And then you start comparing yourself to them.
Right.
That is a recipe for disaster for yourself, because you're not going to be them today. You need to be humble enough to set that bar lower and just compare yourself. And I know 1,000 people have said this, but Jordan Peterson says it as well. Only compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Like, that's the only comparison you need to make, and just start incrementally growing from that point. And
Love it.
That's just, these are all little tools, and we could do hours on goal setting, but like, those are very little easy things that you can just change your perspective on to help you reach whatever goal you have.
Yeah, and we're talking about all these things that we want to talk about on the podcast, and we want feedback from our listeners. So even these sorts of things, even thinking through goals that you're setting, hey, and maybe that's going to be, I'm going to rip out this bathroom this year or whatever it is. But are these things that we're talking about, do these resonate with you guys? So we want to hear from you guys on more specific goal stuff that might be really helpful for you guys, and hearing more expert advice on that.
Yeah. Do we need to shut up and stick to DIY, or do you guys, are you interested in perspectives on this more like philosophical type discussion?
I think we should. Yeah, I think we should be bringing that in. I would want to hear from our listeners a little bit more. I don't know, I guess guidance as far as what they feel.
Well, it's hard. Our Facebook group is growing like just by numbers. So I feel like we've got something there. We got something good going, but it's hard to get that direct feedback. So this is where we're reaching out to you guys for that.
Yeah, and something interesting, I was looking back at our statistics of how many plays we have for each episode. Actually, our Bronco episode was the...
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so thank you, Nashville Early Bronco, for being our guest on for that show. But ranking up there was our episode very early on the DIY philosophy. So I kind of thought that was kind of interesting to see that. So maybe that does point to maybe people being more interested in the philosophy and the mindset and the everything. I can remember getting a question early on, how do you find the time to do these sorts of things? And that kind of ties into all of that. And I think that would be something that would be really good to talk through. So really, really quick, guys, as we wrap this up, name one project, small or large, that you would like to tackle in 2020. Josh, go.
To tackle? Oh, man, this is straight up.
You may not have to finish it. Maybe you start it.
I have a straight up, like, it's another organizational thing in my life. I've got my garage pretty much squared away. Our office, and it's a shame that I'm trying to call it an office because it's more of a storage room right now. We need to get that.
You want it to become an office.
I need to get it back
room.
to an office.
Okay, Dave, go.
I have so many things around my house that need addressing immediately.
Get that tarp off.
Yeah, I got a tarp on my roof over my back porch that needs to be addressed. I think I'm going to call in a pro for that. I haven't 100% decided on it, but I mentioned, I think the last podcast, about doing exhaust fans in the bathroom. Beyond that, I want to redo the master bathroom, and I've got it in my head what I want to do. I know I can do it. It's going to be a huge monumental effort. That's the big goal.
That's actually my goal as well. So I want to do master bathroom, and it's
dueling master bathroom.
Yeah, but listen, guys, mine is going to involve moving a toilet.
Whoa!
All right,
and you're not on a crawl space. You're on. Well, you got a basement, so
I do. Yeah. I'm gonna have to rip out the drywall in the bathroom below it. I mean, I'm taking over a closet.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it's big time.
That's serious.
My wife has done several different arrangements. It's
her renderings.
Yes, her renderings, which is really interesting. I don't know if you guys have ever seen anybody do this. My wife is so talented with Excel. She literally does. I kid you not.
I've done renderings in Excel.
She does renderings in Excel. I'm like, I don't know how you do that, but you're amazing at it.
That's the poor man's layout.
But she's just so good at visualizing what a space could look like that I would have never guessed. Like, so now the current rendering would be the toilet is now going to be where my closet is.
Man, you got to wrap your mind around that.
I mean, it's going to be crazy. So I would really like to tackle that this year. So that's going to be like my big project.
Dude, that sounds awesome.
You can, man.
All right. Dave has a segment for us this week. We will be back after the break.
This episode is sponsored by 1776 United. 1776 United is a patriotic and historically inspired lifestyle brand. They make the best patriotic shirts and apparel on the market today. I personally own many of their products, and if you want to don patriotic gear without looking gaudy, check them out on Instagram, Facebook, and at 1776united.com.
All right, guys, welcome back. Dave has a segment for us. Dave, you got, man, I'm kind of worried about what you got going on here.
Get ready and get excited, boys, for tonight's segment, Champagne Taste, Whiskey Budget.
Okay.
All right, so let me set this up. Josh is going to know who I'm talking about. For those of you out there who follow Barstool Sports, is Barstool Sport, is it a blog? I'm not even quite sure what it is.
They got a website and they have a Facebook page.
It's not like ESPN.
Okay.
It's a sports publication, group of people, some writers.
It's a more casual.
It's kind of off color. It's pretty rough around the edges. If you don't want to be offended, don't check out Barstool Sports. But
okay,
they do.
We are a family kind of podcast.
We are.
So we
are. So the president of Barstool Sports, El Prez, he does a lot of YouTube videos. He does pizza tastings, right? Or pizza reviews. Well, he did. I guess he said, I have whatever the most expensive thing is. I like I always like the most expensive stuff. So he did a wine tasting where he was like, I'm going to prove that I like the most expensive things.
And he's not a wine connoisseur.
And he's not a wine connoisseur. He's like, I like wine. I don't really drink it a lot, but I like it. And I'm just going to prove to you that I like the, blind taste test. I like the most expensive things. So I was like, man, I want to do that. It's like, but I don't really drink wine.
Okay.
So tonight we're doing a whiskey tasting.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Now, so here's what I have. I have 3 whiskeys, okay? A $90 bottle of whiskey.
For those of you listening in the car with the kids, we're going to talk about whiskey and,
up to you.
So if you want to turn it off now, that's fine.
Right. So we have a $90 bottle of whiskey, a $30 bottle of whiskey, and then like a $10 bottle of whiskey. And we're gonna do a blind taste test. The reason I want to do this because when he said I like the most expensive things, I'm like,
Dave's like, me too.
I'm like, that's me. Like I can't help it. It's just the way that I'm wired. And I was like, I think Tim's.
I'm wired so good.
I was like, I think Tim's opposite.
Yeah,
Tim's gonna like that.
I'll probably like the bottom of the barrel.
He's gonna like that hot water.
I'm gonna be like, well, this is what I normally am used to. No, anyways.
So I don't know. Right. So I don't know how this is gonna go over on a podcast format. Okay, we're gonna be doing just a quick whiskey tasting, and the way I want to do it is, which one do you like best? Which one do you like worst? And, the middle one in the middle.
Just a rank.
Yeah, just rank it. And so I think we're going to record it. We're going to video record it.
We're going to video it. I mean, Dave sprung this on me.
I did spring it on him.
So I just got my iPhone set up. This will probably only see the Facebook group page, just to be honest.
But that's fine. I just wanted to fall back.
That is.
So,
I apologize for the crudity of this model. I didn't have time to paint it.
Yeah, people can check out the video and see kind of the magic.
All right,
we're pulling the curtain back.
You get the whatever you're getting together, and I'll get the video.
We'll get set up, and we'll have the video posted after we get everything set up.
Okay, sounds good. All right, and we're back. We are recording.
So here we are
with my iPhone.
Hello,
this
world.
Is UCAN Man Studios. We have this black sheet up.
Headquarters.
That's another project I want to do. I want to put like sound
This needs to
up.
be first and foremost on the list, I feel like.
Yeah, this is pretty rough.
Okay,
Anyways.
so here's what we have. This is obviously, I think whiskey connoisseurs are, probably just screaming.
Yeah.
If they're watching the video.
There's no whiskey connoisseur.
So what we have in front of us, if you're not watching the video, each of us has 3 solo cups. Okay, with just a small amount of whiskey in them, and we're just going to go 1, 2, 3. And what I want you guys to do is rank them. Like I said, your favorite one to your least favorite one.
Okay, just a straight ranking.
Right now, I
favorite or what we think is the most.
No, I don't want to do what you think. I want to know because it's based on your taste.
Gotcha.
Like, do you have expensive taste? And so I do have a little bit of an advantage. I know what the 3 whiskeys are, but I don't know which is. I had some help setting this up.
Party.
Right, I had some help setting this up. I have a key in my back pocket that tells me what 1, 2, and 3 are.
Okay.
But I don't know which is which.
Okay. So just so you guys know, I know nothing about whiskey.
I don't either. I drink it every once in a while. I like it, but I don't really know.
All right,
anything.
let's do this. So
we're all on the same level.
Okay,
Whiskey
number one.
Number 1. Here we go.
Okay.
All right.
Ho. It tastes like whiskey.
It sure does.
I know enough about whiskey to know that I think that this one's a good one.
Okay, I was gonna say the first whiff I got, I was like, "Ooh, I don't think this is high quality."
So you're smelling
I
it,
think
and you
it is,
didn't think it was high quality. Well, that's
my
not what we're doing.
I don't know.
Is it
we're
your
not. We're not doing expensive. We're
Right.
doing our favorite.
Your
what we
favorite.
would like.
It's got a
Yes.
bite.
What do you want to drink?
It's got a bite to it. Okay.
It does have some bite. All right, so let's
We
go number
ready?
2.
All right.
Here. Okay, number 2. I don't even know what to think about that one. That's
That has a spiciness to it.
It does have a
that
spiciness.
does.
I'm such an amateur. That's like the only word I can think of.
That's got a real kick to it, and it's a much different taste.
Yeah, when I say
than,
spicy, it's like a spice, not like hot spicy.
right.
I know real whiskey people are just laughing.
Oh
They are.
gosh! I mean, I don't know whiskey enough to even have the lingo to be able to even describe what I'm
I don't want
tasting?
you to be. I don't want you to have the link.
Yeah,
up.
all we need is just straight up. What would we want to drink more?
Well, I'm saying I don't want to be friends with Tim if he's going to be like a whiskey connoisseur
I'll
and be
say-
bringing all his highbrow.
I'll say my lips are tingling
Okay.
on that one. I don't know what.
All right.
That one.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
we going to 3?
Going to 3.
I don't know. Okay, number 3. Here we go. That one seemed a lot smoother.
Yeah,
But
it
I don't-
does. It's definitely smoother.
It's smoother, but I don't know if it's the more expensive
That
one,
one?
honestly.
Yeah, but that's not what we're doing. We're
Oh,
doing
right.
favorite.
Our favorite.
All right.
Okay, so
I'm going back through
I
them.
think I'm
Okay,
ready.
let's
I think
take just
I'm ready.
let's just take 10 more seconds, guys, and we are going to go back through these. So I'm going to hit number 1. You know what? I don't even need to do it again. I think number 3. Number 3, man. The one that I thought was smoother. I'm gonna go for number 3. Dave, let's hear it, man.
I think for me, so I'm going. Now you got to rank them. You know, your favorite to your least favorite. I'm going
Okay.
3,
Your
2,
favorite.
1.
I'm going 3, 2, 1 as well.
You're
3,
going-
2, 1.
And that's your favorite?
That's my favorite because
Okay.
number 2 had just a weird. Now I will say this:
I'm-
I think that likely number 2 is probably some sort of acquired more. That was just a way different taste
Yeah,
than I've ever.
I'm 3, 1, 2. So like 3, I would want to drink the most of.
You know what? I
2
think I'm
the
going to change.
least.
I probably shouldn't, but I think you're right. Because number 2 was just too strange
Because
to
it's
me.
not about expense. This is about
right.
what you want to drink.
So I'm with Josh. 3, 1, 2.
I want to do the exact same thing that you guys are doing because I agree, but I feel like we're just
Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay, let's see this.
All right, I think
Maybe-
we're all in agreement though.
we're either all correct
We
or all way off.
We all know that we like number 3 the best.
Yes.
Right. So all right, here we go.
All right, let's see the.
Our highly scientific system here. I've got the results. Maybe if I can unfold it. Ooh, this thing it's taped.
Wow, that's how you know you didn't.
I feel like Steve Harvey.
Well,
in the
This is
Miss
best
America
way to-
pageant.
Here we go.
Okay, so here we go. Wow. All right. So we all so number 3 is W.L. Weller, which is that's the mid-level
the mid-level.
the mid-level
Okay.
whiskey. So number 3 is like a $30 bottle of whiskey.
Okay.
So that's good. That's good news for us. We don't have expensive taste. It doesn't take a lot to impress us. What was our second? Our second favorite is Evan Williams, the cheap stuff.
Really?
Yeah, Evan Williams is our second favorite. The $90 bottle of whiskey.
See, I
Is
knew
our least favorite.
What did I say? I said I thought that number 2 was
Yeah.
some sort of weird acquired taste. Guys that are super into whiskey, they're like, yeah. This,
So
you know.
here, the expensive one was kind of a curveball. It was an unintended curveball. The most expensive one, our least favorite, is a rye whiskey, which is
Okay.
which is a little bit spicier.
Yeah.
It's a little bit hotter, and I didn't want to get a rye, but it was so what it was. It's
reasonable price.
So it was Whistle Pig 10-year rye
Yeah,
whiskey.
I think that it's probably unfair for us to have said that was our least favorite because we just don't have the taste for it.
Yeah.
You know?
we don't, but that was kind of the point of it, was just to see, hey, we're 3 regular dudes.
But
we're not
throwing in a
super.
rye is a curveball.
It is a curveball,
curveball.
and we didn't dig
That
it.
was just way different than I've.
It was different.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
that
yeah,
was
there you
that
go.
was a great segment, Dave.
Maybe we can do. I don't know how well this comes across the podcast, but hey, if we start,
We've got video of it.
if we start videotaping all our episodes, then
Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, that's going to do it for the UK and Man podcast.
first one of 2020.
Yeah. First
Happy New
one of
Year.
2020. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. And we will be back next week with some more great content for you guys. Check out our Facebook page and leave us a review. We'll see you guys.